we're bringing you insights from this event that's been organized by Mumbai First to look at the possibility of Mumbai turning into a world-class megacity and of course taking some lessons from Europe along the way. Joining us now is Ms. Kristina Dely, who's the head of Covenant of Mayors office, and this office works with different countries, different associations, and looks at climate change and how to mitigate the CO2 footprint. Kristina, it's great to have you here with us to talk to us. Thank you for your time. Now, give us some sense of the kind of work that the office is already doing and the sort of partner countries that you have and the whole effort to reduce carbon emissions.
Indeed, this initiative was launched by the European Commission in 2007 as part of the European Energy Efficiency Action Plan, and with an office set up from 2009 to assist the first covenant signatories. It's actually part of Europe's energy and climate goals, where today over 5,000 European and also beyond European local authorities are committed to mitigate climate change, especially via energy efficiency and renewable energy measures. They are committed to reduce their CO2 emissions on their territories by at least 20% by 2020, actually on average by 28% by 2020. And to support this, they are drafting a so-called sustainable energy action plans, and they are setting out their measures how to mitigate.
All right. So, of course, I mean, conserving energy and sustainable development is a big issue, of course, in Europe, also for cities in India. But in Mumbai, which is a city that's still grappling with the more basic issues like transportation, like sanitation, etc., what are the lessons that one must keep in mind?
Of course, the scale is very different because the largest European cities, London and Paris, do not reach the scale of Mumbai, for example. And we are also facing a different population growth on a 2020 horizon. Mumbai is gaining 65% up to 65% of population by 2020. However, the challenges and solutions could be very similar. For instance, if we are taking congestion deriving from traffic, it's a typical issue for most European cities as well. Although they are succeeding to reduce their energy consumption in public buildings or in buildings in general, that's a major area of focus for cities. Transport remains, and especially transport congestion remains a big issue for most European cities. And here, sharing examples, counting on some European examples, can be for the benefit of Mumbai.
Sure. So what are the most critical issues that kind of come to mind when you're looking at energy conservation, when you're looking at living off perhaps a low energy city, I think, which was the title of your presentation?
Yes, indeed. You might know that in Europe we are facing austerity, we are facing slow GDP growth, there is a very high unemployment, and when in this context we need to spend a high amount of, and families need to spend a high amount of money on energy because it's coupled with increasing energy prices, and if we are remaining dependent on fossil energy import in Europe, that's a big issue. So keeping money at home and focusing on energy efficiency, reducing our, today in Europe, 400 billion euros of energy import, and focusing on local energy production from renewables, that's definitely a benefit for all. And besides reducing energy bills, besides reducing fuel poverty, for example, it creates additional benefits like creating jobs, creating local investments. We just heard in the former presentation from Dunkerque that every €1 they are investing into energy efficiency and into any public investment into sustainable energy returns €14 in additional investments.
All right. So, any specific, perhaps, examples that India could take, in particular Mumbai, could take? What should be the first few steps? Are you looking at when you're looking at building up this more energy efficient roadmap for the city?
Yes. Mumbai today has a vision. It has a 40-year plan, which is very important to see where we want to be within one generation. And most European cities are also setting a vision on the 2030, 2050 horizon, but then doing a more concrete action plan and taking a political commitment to work together on this is also very important. What we see, the key success factor for the most successful European cities are a very strong political will to realize that vision, a very strong and decentralized governance. Actually, also disposing of the necessary competence in energy management, so empowerment, so that they can carry out the job, so that they can set up, let's say, an urban fund, a climate fund, an urban development fund, what is so-called a revolving fund, from which they can invest into energy efficiency and the savings return. Right. So these are the first steps, and so this requires important steps in governance, political leadership, but also what I see in terms of successful cities, that they are involving their stakeholders, consulting their citizens. I'm aware that Mumbai is much larger, but for example, if Mumbai wants to go, I've heard planned spaces, and if you want to go to a multi-center city, in this way increasing quality of life for those citizens, this is definitely a way to go.
Well, when you talk about a low energy city, is that a city which consumes lesser levels of energy, or is that a city which is relying less on traditional sources of energy, which could be costly, which could be not very environment friendly either?
When I'm talking about low energy city, we often mention low carbon, but I think low carbon is not enough, because low carbon not necessarily includes decentralized energy from local resources, renewable resources. Hence, and when we are talking about, in the case of Mumbai, a very intense urbanization, if this urbanization happens or couples hopefully with a high quality of life for citizens, and if it's fueled by fossil fuel, it's actually leads to a higher energy intensity. So what I'm talking about, it's rather energy intensity or low energy intensity urban development.
Okay, well, important issues for Mumbai to keep in mind as it plans its future. Thank you so much for your insights.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.